fucking mic on. Turn the mic on. Turn the fucking mic on. Who said mama's little baby loves shortening bread? Who said mama's little baby loves shortening bread? That's some lie some American white man said. Mama's little baby don't like no shortening bread. Mama's little baby likes truffles. Mama's little baby likes caviar. Mama's little baby likes all the fine things in life.
Hey, to anybody who's tuning in and listening to this, I appreciate you for giving me some space in your head to be able to explain some events taking place today in the year 2023 and in the world, specifically in regards to what's occurring in the country of Peru and Latin America. But this isn't just about Peru. This also has to do with any part of the world that is seeking autonomy for itself and isn't being allowed to use its own resources as it sees fit for its own people. In regards to what's going on in Peru, basically, here's the explanation for it. Just a brief background knowledge kind of piece, and then from there, I'm gonna broadcast a man who has been involved in the struggle against imperialism for years now, and he will better explain kind of what's going on today in the world. Essentially, what's occurring in Peru is that a president who was legally elected and popularly elected by the working class population of Peru, and specifically the indigenous population of Peru, which is the dominant amount of people and the population there. They have more numbers as far as the people that live there, even though a lot of the current Peruvians have been intertwined within European culture due to the history there and the colonization of the conquistadores who came to Peru to basically destroy one of the most sophisticated and well-built civilizations to ever exist, which was the Inca Empire. We usually have these preconceptions and this misconceived ideas that these civilizations were somehow behind or not technologically advanced, or that they were missing out on, things that the Europeans had that they didn't, things such as guns and viruses and germs. If you go look at a lot of Aztec and Mayan, and specifically though the Peruvian Inca Empire that was there before Peru was established, you will see that they actually had a very, very sophisticated way of organizing their communities. They had good systems for water, good systems for food, technology that could be described as being very advanced for the period of time that they were living in. So, yes. So basically, the president there, whose name was Pedro Castillo, if I'm not mistaking his name, or Presidente Castillo. I'm not sure what his full name was, but Castillo something. He was an indigenous president that even from the get-go, when he got into power, the conservative forces in the country and the liberal, quote-unquote, pro-democrat, pro-neoliberalists people in government were already kind of finding a way to get him out of there, even though he got into power to basically meet the demands of the population, because he was voted in by popular vote. And they're basically preventing this from being acknowledged in the mainstream media. So obviously his presidency came with the aspiration to do certain policies that would harm the people in Peru who have been conserving power for about hundreds of years now. And some of those policies would have been agrarian reform, which to anybody that doesn't know what that means, that basically means just redistributing portions of land in a way that would benefit not just 10 families, because in a lot of these countries, and this isn't just in Latin America, this is here in America too, in Asia, in the Middle East, in Africa, it'll be situations where literally 20 to 30 families control like 80% of the land type thing, and it's no exaggeration. So he was going in with the attempt to implement a strategy that would redistribute that land and give it back to the people who work it, the people who are the farmers, the people who grow the crops, that kind of thing. Another goal he had was he wanted to nationalize Peru's natural resources, which just basically means that instead of letting private corporations who are appropriating these businesses for monetary reasons and for money and those kind of things, he was basically trying to do it so that the government could control it, but not in a negative way, just so that it could be in control of the country's own resources so that the country could use it as it sees fit. But obviously the people in power, not just in Peru, but in imperialist countries such as the United States, and in my opinion, to a certain degree, even China, which will eventually take that role in the world, I think, they don't like it when these countries do these kind of things because it interferes with their ability to manipulate them and influence them. So that's kind of a little bit of the background on what's going on in Peru. And now I will play an interview by Roberto, who has been involved in activism for a couple years now, it seems.
They argue that it is the fall of Presidente Castillo because he read a pronouncement saying like this: I'm going to close the Congress, the judicial institutions. We are going to close all of these institutions that do not allow us to govern. And so, immediately they placed Presidente Castillo in jail within hours of his reading a manifesto. Nothing occurred after that. It just was a lecture that, yes, a lecture that called for extreme actions against the Congress and the judiciary. But they reacted by stepping on all the rights and all the laws from Congress, the Constitution, and the judicial process. And immediately, while he still was president, captured him and put him in jail. There was no congressional, again, judicial and constitutional process. So they violated this process. Here in the United States, we are proud to say that when the insurrection of January 6, 2021 occurred, the consequences were a destroyed Capitol. 6 police members of the Congress killed and hundreds of injured. But we follow the procedure, the legal procedure in Congress and the Constitution. And that process has taken up today 2 years or over. Witnesses have been interviewed. President Trump's mansion in Mar-a-Lago has been intervened, and dozens of witnesses interviewed. That is what you, Peruvian Congress and people, need to learn and follow.
That's right.
President Trump is walking free with his family right now,
Yeah.
2 years later. President Castillo was put to jail without due process. Do you understand? Now you blame the terrorists, the narco-traffickers, and everybody else. You blame Fidel Castro, who is dead. Hugo Chavez, who is dead. You blame
Yes, mucho gusto.
Abimael, who is dead. You blame everybody but yourselves for this situation. Needs to come to an end. This
right.
is what we have. A military-led coup d'etat.
So this is the person that replaced the last indigenous president in Peru.
This woman, her name is Dina Boluarte. She was the vice president from the party Peru Libre, who won the election and put Pedro Castillo as a president. She took over, yes, on a legal succession of constitutional power as a president. They hurried to do that. It was an illegal process as well. But in any event, once he was proclaimed the new president in succession, she became not the vice president, and the ideas and platform and everything that Presidente Castillo stood for. Instead, she became a president like if she had been the president for Keiko Fujimori or for Rafael López Aliaga. The process. Do you understand? Now you blame the terrorists, the narco-traffickers, and everybody else. You blame Fidel Castro, who is dead. Hugo Chavez, who is dead. You blame
Yes, mucho gusto.
Abimael, who is dead. You blame everybody but yourselves for this situation. Needs to come to an end. This
right.
is what we have. A military-led coup d'etat.
So this is the person that replaced the last indigenous president in Peru.
This woman, her name is Dina Boluarte. She was the vice president from the party Peru Libre, who won the election and put Pedro Castillo as a president. She took over, yes, on a legal succession of constitutional power as a president. They hurried to do that. It was an illegal process as well. But in any event, once he was proclaimed the new president in succession, she became not the vice president, and the ideas and platform and everything that Presidente Castillo stood for. Instead, she became a president like if she had been the president for Keiko Fujimori or for Rafael López Aliaga.